sorrows in you, no matter what they say. Time will heal your wounds and ease your pain, 'cause the sun will shine again. Sometimes it seems too much to handle, you feel like giving up, but there'll be better days ahead. Remember, this too will pass. Nothing's gonna stay forever, soon your pain will go. It won't be long before the night is over, and then you won't feel cold. No matter how much sorrow's in you, no matter what they say, time will heal your wounds and ease your pain, 'cause the sun will shine again. The sun will shine again. The sun will shine again. In the springtime, the flowers are blooming. All is beautiful and bright. Oh, hear all those green leaves rustling. See the trees swaying gently in the wind. But suddenly a storm appears, scaring all the flowers, trees and birds. And when the storm is gone and the calm sets in, you'll see whatever's left on the ground are not just wilting leaves. You find that there are young ones too, not even fully grown. But that's the way the world is. You've got to learn that fast. Understand the law of nature. Be grateful they've come this far. No one can be with you forever. The sooner you realize this, the better. Live better than those who have gone away. Carry on the legacy and honor. And in your heart you'll have no fear. You can let go of those you hold so dear. Will you accept this truth and put an end to all your tears? Cherish them when they're here with you, but don't cling on when they've to go. One day they must leave you, just as one day you leave them too. Forgive whatever has happened, they now belong to the past. Give them your blessings to go in peace. Practice all that you preach at last. No one can live forever. This body we can't control. Our real home is inner peace. Someday we will all have to let it go. you have, no matter what you do. Opening the door of your heart, let love make a start, embrace all those around you. Let them know how you feel when you unlock the door with the key that love gives you. There are no strings attached and no boundaries, no fine print, no hidden catch, come feeling free. There are so many beautiful feelings, they're so hard to resist. Let the love flow around, let love persist. Opening the door of your heart, let love make a start, embrace all those around you. Let them know how you feel when you unlock the door with the key that love gives you. Love is for you and me. Love can set us free. We all can make a fresh start if we open our hearts. You got to open up the door to your heart and let everyone know just how you feel. And then you can let them in when you unlock the door with the key that love gives you. Opening the door of your heart, let love make a
Testing. Very good morning to you, brothers and sisters. Welcome. My name is Wan Ting, and I'm the service leader for today. So we're going to start off with the morning puja first before the talk. Before we start, just a few reminders here with regards to the COVID-19. So do keep your mask on, and then when you're chanting, you can participate, but try not to do loud chanting. Okay? So without much ado, let's switch off our phones and calm down our minds, and then let's start the morning puja. In Anjali, let us pay homage to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Let us put our palms together to partake in the offerings to the Buddha. The offering of the 5 items allows us to express our gratitude to the Buddha and serves as a symbol to help us remember the teachings. Please join wholeheartedly and read the verses together. Offering of light. Light symbolizes wisdom. May the light of Dhamma dispel the darkness of ignorance. Offering of incense. Incense symbolizes the fragrance of pure moral conduct. This reminds us to cultivate good conduct. Offering of water. Water symbolizes purity, clarity, and calmness. It reminds us to practice the Buddha's teachings, to cleanse one's mind, which is full of desires, ill will, and delusion, to attain the state of purity. Offering of fruits. Fruits symbolize the ultimate fruit of enlightenment, which is our goal. They also remind us that all actions will have their effects. Offering of flowers. Flowers symbolize impermanence. The freshness, fragrance, and beauty of flowers are impermanent. This reminds us that we should all live in the present. Remembering thus, we should reduce our craving and attachment. Let us now pay respects to the Triple Gem. Araham Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhaṃ Bhagavantaṃ Avivādemi. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami. Supatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sangham Namami. We now chant the verses for taking the 3 refuges. Buddhaṃ Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi, Dhammang Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi, Sanghang Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Dhammang Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Sanghang Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammang Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Sanghang Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi. We chant these verses to observe the 5 precepts. Panatipata viramani sikapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana viramani sikapadang samadhiyami. Kamesu michachara viramani sikapadang samadhiyami. Musawada viramani sikapadang samadhiyami. Suramiraya majapama datana viramani sikapadang samadhiyami. Let us recollect the sublime qualities of the Buddha. Iti piso bhagava araham samma sambuddho vijacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anutaro purisa dhammasarati satta deva manusanam buddho bhagavati. Let us recollect the sublime qualities of the Dhamma. Swakato bhagavata dhammo Sanditiko akaliko ehipasiko opanaiko pachatam veritavu vinuhiti. Let us recollect the sublime qualities of the Sangha. Supatipano bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Uchupatipano bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Nyaya patipano bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Samichi patipano bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Yadidam chatari purisa yugani atta purisa pugala esa bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Ahuneyo pahuneyo dakineyo anjali karaniyo anutarang punyaketam lokasati. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Very good morning to you, brothers and sisters, again. Before we start, I'll just quickly run through the announcements for today. So, again, we are calling for donations for the new building. And currently, I guess a lot of people are still wondering what's happening with the building itself. We are still negotiating for the place that we spoke about previously. So we do welcome generous donations to contribute to the building fund. This is a display for the list of Sunday service. Coming week, we have a lay live in Dhamma. Do note that this is not a live session. It will be recorded and uploaded onto YouTube after that as well. If you are still interested to come and join us here in the Dhamma hall, do remember to register on. Okay. Okay, so apologies, this is a live session. Sorry, this is a live session, not Facebook Live, and do register if you're interested to join us. My apologies for that. Next one, we have Ajahn Brahm giving us a talk on the 29th of August, titled Empathy versus Equanimity, 3 p.m. Again, do join us. This is for the BF Youth and Indonesian service. In the coming week, we have Making Peace in Every Movement by Brother Guido. The session will be 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. And we have also the very popular Dhamma Foundation course coming up. And this will be 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. every Saturday starting 4th September. Do note that we still have space for on-site or Zoom, so do register and join us for the course as well. They are limited though, so you need to act fast. Now, let's start with our talk for today. Before I pass the mic over to Sister, I know this is not really necessary because almost all of us will know her very well, but do let me do a short introduction of Sister Sylvia. So Sister Sylvia has dedicated herself to the study and the practice of the Buddha's teachings since 1992. She holds a BA in Buddhist studies from a Buddhist and Pali University of Sri Lanka and was a lecturer with her alma mater. She also has a Master's in International Public Policy from Johns Hopkins School of Advanced Studies. Since 2001, Sis Sylvia has been a regular speaker on Buddhist doctrines and their practical applications at local and regional Buddhist organizations. In 2013, she published her first book, Between the Lines, an analytical appreciation of the Buddha's life. She's now working on another book titled Towards the Light, the Buddha's Guide to a Heavenly Rebirth. So I shall not take up too much time. Over to you, Sister Sylvia Bay. Yes, so Sister will guide us in a guided meditation.
Okay. Now, it's going to be a short one because 5-10 minutes, very hard for a good meditation session. So instead, what we will do is a relaxation. Let the mind rest for a while. So I would like to invite everyone to close your eyes. We should switch off all the lights, including the one there, at the back there. Yeah. The one at the back there, yeah. So everyone, close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. Deep breath. Deep in, as deep as you can go. Let the life-giving air sink deep into your system. When you breathe out, breathe slowly out. Slowly. Slowly seep out. Deep in, slow out. When you are ready, I want you to do a mental image, bowing before the Buddha. Bow deep and low. This is to show gratitude for our inheritance, which is the Dhamma. The Dhamma, when we understand it with wisdom, our life will be at peace. Our defilements tamed. Our understanding of reality as is. This is the power of the Dhamma. Then we make a mental aspiration. For those of you deeply into the Dhamma, you make a vow. And you say, as we have chanted earlier, like the Sangha of days gone by, the Sangha of days today, and like the pure Sangha that comes tomorrow, we will walk this path diligently. We will walk this path uprightly. That means we will be honest, sincere in our practice. we will walk the path with clarity and understanding. And we will walk this path all the way to Nibbana. This is our practice, and we give thanks to the Buddha for showing us the way. Then we sit quietly for 5 minutes, reflecting on these words, because they are very powerful. And if you mean every word, they are very meritorious, very skillful and meritorious. With just these words, your mind has accumulated so much merits. Then you can share. Invite your loved ones who have gone on to come partake in your merits. So we do 5 minutes. Now you take 3 deep breaths. With every breath that you breathe in, wish yourself, may I be well and happy. With every out breath, you wish the world, may the world be well and happy. Just do it 3 times. And then slowly you come out of It's quiet sitting. Good. Okay. Now, while we are waiting for the others to make their way out of Samadhi land, the rest of us will smile at each other through your mask. Okay, now seriously, you'll notice that every time I come here and do a guided meditation, I seem to be doing something new. Every time. And you may be wondering why. Why? This auntie got so many patterns. Actually, meditation is not rigid. It's neither rigid nor structured. Okay? The whole purpose of meditation, Buddhist meditation, is to help the mind settle into an equilibrium, into a balance that is in the present. You force it too much, it gets very tired. For many people, when they force it too much, the mind will sleep. You don't hold it enough, the mind will drift. So you are now stuck in this bicycle balance. Too much, too little, and then it starts to go all over the place. Too much, it sleeps. Too little, it drifts. So what do, you see? And what I'm helping many of you here to understand is that don't be too rigid. You must first introduce an element for the mind to like, to appreciate. And when the mind likes and appreciates, it will be present. It will stay put. And to be liked and for it to appreciate, you have to give it something, I said, it likes. If you're all Buddhists and you're all very sincere about the practice, it likes Dhamma. Okay? If your faith is strong, it loves the triple gems. So you feed it the triple gem, it will stay put. For those of you who are always doing service, it makes you feel really good when your compassion flows. Then the way you talk to yourself is to talk about the dukkha around you that you see, and you're grateful for your blessed life, and that you are grateful for an opportunity to help others. It's short. You don't have to talk for half an hour. It's just short, 5 minutes. 5 minutes is all it takes for your mind to go quiet. This morning, how many of you found that your mind was actually relatively present? That it was quite okay, it's present. How many of you found that? All of you. Most of you. So you see, 5 minutes, and suddenly your mind can go quiet and stay put. And it actually stayed for a while. You did it on your own for about 5 minutes. Was that okay? So once you set the momentum, right, you start the car engine, then as it rambles on, it will stay put. Do you understand? So this is how you do it. You must know your own kusala instincts. Kusala, wholesome. With what talks to you. Gratitude, compassion, metta, saddha, faith, whatever that talks to you. And if you say that, oh, mine is vipassana, what does that mean? Vipassana means what? All this is vipassana, by the way. Saddha, karuna, compassion. You said it wisely, they are all vipassana, okay? If you say, oh, I look at 32 parts, so be it. Did it bring you joy? Not really. Then it didn't work. It must bring you joy. It must give you that sense of commitment and confidence in the path. Then you're okay. You can use any of the teachings that the Buddha had. You can use Dhammacakka. Dhammacakka Pavattana Sutta, turning of the wheel of Dhamma. You can, if you want to memorize it or you want to remember the English words and you flow with it, you can. Any of the Buddha's teaching, any of the teaching, one small stanza, Dhammapada verse, many stanzas. Mano puba dhamma gamma dhammo, mano seta mano seya. The first Dhammapada verse, mind is the forerunner of all states. Mind is supreme, mind made are things. Something like that. Just one stanza. You keep your mind there, you're good to go. Okay? As long as it gives you joy. So I still got many patterns. Okay? Right. After that, let's do today's talk. Learning to see the Dhamma forest for the tree. The reason why I chose this topic is because a lot of us, the more intellectual we are, and I come from that school of thought. Intellectual is the way to go, the school of thought. The more intellectual we are, the more we're looking for the trees. And there are so many trees. After all, the Buddha left behind so much teaching, right? So we are like, oh, there are so many trees. We can pluck leaves. But unfortunately, as long as we stick with the twigs and the branches and the leaves, as long as we stay there, it's actually very hard to rise above it and see the Dhamma. We can get very caught up. So today's talk is to explain what's happening in our mind, why it's so difficult for many of us to learn the Dhamma. I'm proposing that we can pick a few things from the Buddha. Let's go back to the source. Pick a few things from how he used to teach, and maybe that can help us. And finally, pitfalls to guard against means be aware of the kind of problems, learning problems, some assumptions that we have about Dhamma. Be aware of those. You have to guard against those. Otherwise, you will also trip. Okay? You will see what I mean. Now, previously, in the previous two talks, I end with a poll. So many patterns. Today, must try something different. We will start with the poll. On a scale of 1 to 5, everybody must pick a number. How long have you been learning Dhamma? Now, this one not very complex. Quite simple. Just started. Okay? If yours is just started, you put a 1. Today, no addition, subtraction. Today, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Around the time Singapore entered into CB. So that means 1 year ago, okay? You only started 1 year ago. Singapore went into CB, you also jalat. So you go into the Dhamma. Okay? 5 years ago, a decade, 10 years ago. So just started 1 year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the last century. There you all go, oh, jipak hui meh? Last century is 20 years ago. Okay, so you all have your number. Huh? You don't have to tell me yet because the poll has 2 parts. You all got your number, right? Everybody? Yes? Okay, next. How would you describe your understanding of the Dhamma? Okay, this is why you score yourself. Huh? Yeah, you score yourself. What is Dhamma? What is Dhamma? Okay, that's one. Okay. Second one, got some impression, but don't know right or wrong. Okay, that's 2. I got attend classes, I got attend talk. I think I know more than my mother. Mother, father, sister, brother, neighbor, okay? So I know I think I know better than the next person who's 1. Okay? I think I'm okay. I dare to share with my neighbor. Meaning, why neighbor? Why the first one mother and the second one neighbor? There's a reason for that, okay? Everything I put here has a reason. Your mother is the closest to you, your family members. So you believe you have some idea whether or not they know the Dhamma, yes? So you can compare. You know your neighbor knows Dhamma, not? Can you tell? It's much harder for you to tell. Sharing with the neighbor is like this. Neighbor is a stranger. It's not family. So it actually takes a bit more confidence to share with a stranger. Or at least not family. Okay? So that's 4. Meaning you're quite okay. You dare to share now. If I invite you to come up and say something to your class, you will dare to do it. But number 5. I can fly. Superman already, I can fly. I can teach. Okay? This is when you sign up for DFC to teach. So, the first one you have a number. The second one you have a number. Now let's see. This is a very simple graph on understanding and effort. So, are you A? Don't know, don't care. I assume that if you will take Sunday morning, your rest day, to come and sit in this class, there is no A here. Okay? But are you B? Meaning, I have put in so much time and effort. I've attended classes, left, right, center. But my understanding, as far as I know, is still not sure. I'm not sure. Remember 2? I'm not sure. Or 3, I think I know better than my mother. So after putting and investing all the time and effort, 我惭愧地说, I apologize. I'm shy to say, but I'm only a B. So that's a B. Okay? Oh, but in Chinese, it means one leap you reach the heaven. I.e., you were so good, you went for one talk and you're enlightened. But at least, okay, you are so good, you went for talks and you went for classes, and within this 1 year, 2 year, CB period, you went in, right? Ta-da! Now I can share with my neighbor. Maybe not come out to teach, but you can share with your neighbor. You dare to talk to the next person who say, hey, sister, what is Dhamma? Then you, okay, come, let me explain to you. You dare to do that. I'm assuming that many of you here are comfortable sharing with the next person. I'm assuming, okay? But many of us, most of us, we are slow and steady. Correct? Slow and steady. Now, this one, you see my D, I put it very high, meaning you can teach, okay? You see, I can't teach, I can, at most, pass exam. I can share with the next person, I dare to. Okay, also can. We also put you there. You understand? This graph, is it a graph? It's a graph, right? X, Y, axis, my maths is so bad. The intent here, the intent of this is a short, simple, cheeky way of explaining some things. Sometimes we reflect over some points. Is it correct? Now I'm asking you a question. Is it correct? This first point here, we assume we have control in our learning, that there is some expectation that we put in the effort, surely it must deliver some results. Is that kind of our expectations? Yes? Yes? I like you so much. You kaka, yes, I like you. The rest of you what? No. Yes lah. It's quite a yes. I mean, we are human. And it's kind of seared into our neuron circuitry that when we put in the effort, we try very hard, we must get something, ma, right? I mean, we can be very mudita about the ones who 一步登天, right? We can be very mudita. Mudita means we can celebrate with him, we're very happy for someone. We can do that. Someone with minimal effort went through into the jhana, went through into the Dhamma. We can appreciate that. We applaud, right? We invite him to give a talk next. But we also hope to at least get somewhere, right? Somewhere. Why is it they kind of shot through and we like, wow, we block cut. Why so slow, right? So there is some expectation that effort will deliver results. And what's effort? The longer time you put in, the more time you spend learning and reading, time is a factor of effort. Right? Agree? So that's why I always have this very cute comment. Someone will say, when you learn meditation, I very early, I only one class under Beng Hok. But don't know why I can understand. I can do it. And then people go, a long time already. And then you say, long time means you're very good. There is that expectation. If you're putting a long time into something, you must be very good. So there isn't the idea that time also equal understanding. Then effort, time not enough, command of details. Equal understanding, right? That's why I know of people who go and attend class after class after class. Or read the entire, me guilty of it. I read the entire Nikaya. Guilty of it, guilty. But there are also many intellectuals who will read the entire Nikaya 2 times. Not 1 time, 2 times. I only did once, not so bad. Now, me laughing and having fun and enjoying with you guys, we're all laughing at ourselves. Okay? I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing at me too. Because I too had all these assumptions. Pass exam, work very hard, memorize the part. I used to memorize, mind you. I used to memorize Pali alphabet. With the conjugation and declination and all those verbs and all those things. I did. Guilty. Okay? So we all go through all these things. Time, effort, all these things. Unfortunately, not so simple, not so straightforward. Okay? So today, we're going to look at what else matters. So my first question, which I think quietly in our mind, some of us may be asking, why is Dhamma so difficult to understand? In most cases, you put in the effort, time, energy, and all, right? Got it, right? In most time. But Dhamma, hello, 20 years, I still better than my mother. 20 years of Dhamma, I'm better than my mother, that's it. Yes, Dhamma, partly because it's the nature of Dhamma. Dhamma's nature. Dhamma is complex. I stress, not complicated, complex. What's the difference? Complex means there are different components. In order to understand something, there are different components, and all these components come together. You need to understand the components. Complicated is, it can be just one component, not many, just one. But that one component twists your mind left, right, center, and it's very hard for you to understand just that one component. Okay? So it's complex. There are many components in the Dhamma. And if you attend any class, you will know. Paticca Samuppada can take up 3 classes, 5 classes. Because there's so many parts to Paticca Samuppada. Paticca Samuppada dependent origination. It's one of the most complex. In fact, it became so good that they made centuries of teachers kind of grew the Dhamma into the Abhidhamma. It's even more complicated. Okay? Buddha's Dhamma, you don't take pictures yet. If you want to take any photo, you wait until the end. I will pull them all out for you. But I don't want you to get distracted by the other words. Dhamma is counterintuitive, meaning as human, we have certain instincts and assumptions. For instance, the word, if I were to read the word to you, you tell me whether it makes sense. An eye for an eye. Make sense? The material world, the secular world, all absolutely believe in this word, an eye for an eye. Doesn't matter if it makes the world go blind, but it's still an eye for an eye. Makes sense. And you find yourself sometimes telling your child, if people bully you, you push back. Also, it makes sense. So our instincts, our biological instincts, geared you to think, to assume, to behave in a certain way. This is your biological instincts. It is not your fault. Don't turn around and say that it's our fault. No, it is your biological instincts. When it is biological, meaning you fight to defend, and then if you cannot defend, you run, fight and flight. This is ingrained in you. And if you think you compare, same pattern, same strength, we fight. Don't let people bully you, otherwise people take advantage of you. All these words I say, you agree. But the Dhamma, the teaching, tells you all these words are the reason why you have dukkha. These words are not good for you. So the Dhamma, in the manner that it stresses, the teaching that it has, is actually quite contrary to your instincts and habits. That's why counterintuitive. That's why the Buddha had his self-doubt moment. Before he came out to teach the Dhamma, there was one moment where he said, the Dhamma is very hard to understand, especially for people of this world who are fixated with their pleasures. Our instincts towards pleasures are very basic, very simplistic, very basic, and very intuitive. And the Dhamma is saying all these accommodating your desires, all these accommodations will give you dukkha. Then you say, incorrect ma. It's correct by the Dhamma, it's incorrect by your instincts. Okay? So the Buddha at that point said, very hard to teach. And you remember, there was the Brahma, Sahampati, who came and pleaded with the Buddha, Buddha, you don't teach. They will be the ones who understand and they will be lost. Meaning in this life, you took so many centuries to prepare yourself to become a Buddha and you 放弃. Let go. Cannot. We're all waiting for you to come back and teach and rediscover the path, or rather to reveal the path to the world. You see what I'm saying? Now this part we have established earlier. In learning, we typically focus on the content, the substance. And the more difficult, the more you seek information and details. The more difficult, the more challenging, the more you want details. But that wouldn't work for the Dhamma. It wouldn't work because more is not necessarily better. That's the point. The more things that you have, the more that you have, doesn't imply automatically you know. It doesn't mean that. It can. It can mean that the more you know, the more you can understand. It can mean that. But it doesn't automatically equal that. Okay? Ironically, after I talk about counterintuitive, now I'm telling you, it also requires intuitive understanding. Intuitive, huh? Meaning to say logic and intelligence alone not enough. There is something in you in here that kind of instinctively know Buddha was right, the teaching is correct, we need to train in this way. There is an instinct. So there is an instinct that is required, and this instinct sits on mental states. I will explain. Attending classroom, and I'm going to start a class, the Dhamma Foundation course. Then I tell you, there's a limit to classroom style downloading. Meaning, if you sit there, take note, teacher say, you tape, and then you have your own Wikipedia worth of tapes. That alone can only do so much. It can only do so much. So then what works? Yeah, this is where you can take a picture if you want to. But normally I will send out the slides. BF will attach the slides. Okay? So what works? I just go on and on. Okay, what works? It requires the following mental states. And this is the reason why the course that I'm teaching, the Dhamma Foundation course, this is the reason why I emphasize so much on how you can learn by explaining to you the necessary mental states. These mental states must come together. You cannot suka like buffet like that, pick only the salad. You need your greens, but you also need the protein and the carbohydrate and so on. You need the entire works. You tell me, I want to understand the Dhamma, I want to see the path in this life, I want to know the end journey in this life, you need to cultivate these mental states. Okay? Everyone is familiar, everyone here is familiar with saddha. I use the Pali word not because I'm showing off happily, but really because there are some words that you need to understand it in Pali, because I don't want to prejudice your understanding in English. You see the word faith or confidence, and automatically your mind has a baggage of ideas. Whereas I want to introduce many English words, not because they're thesaurus, but really because together, they give you a flavor of the Pali word, saddha. So that's why I use the word saddha. The English words collectively only give you a flavor of that word. Okay? So saddha, which means having conviction, having confidence in the Buddha and in yourself, having conviction and confidence. What do they do? And saddha, the critical thing is, it keeps your mind open and receptive. All of us walk around with an instinctive lens. The problem with that lens, the lens through which you judge the world, the lens through which you understand the world, judge the world, makes your decision, and so on. And you don't just judge the world, you also judge yourself. There is that lens. You can call it understanding, view, or whatever, but it's that prism through which you understand, see, acknowledge, recognize, whatever, the world. Okay? That lens, unfortunately, is extremely powerful. That lens. It's very powerful. It operates very instinctively. You don't even realize that it's working because it's so automatic. But unfortunately, this lens is not seated on wisdom. We like to think we are wise, but until we are truly wise, we are not. Yet, we have a lens that's stuck inside there, showing you the world, and you will recognize, understand, appreciate the world through that lens. You see what I'm saying? And that lens, you may not realize it, you will call it my view, my thoughts, my perception, right? You will say it like this. But the problem is, because it's not seated on wisdom, your view, your thought, your assumption, your prejudice, they all have a problem. Saddha is the tool used to try and neutralize that lens. That's why it's so important. It's not about you bowing before the Buddha, left, right, center, and Buddha, I believe in you. Buddha, I believe in you. No, you are using your faith in the Buddha, the teaching, and the practice to try and neutralize your lens. Can you now understand why it's so important? It is so important that the Buddha said, only one who is an Arahant have complete Saddha. Hey, it's so simple, and yet only the Arahant has it full. The rest of us, why the Arahant has it full? Because the Arahant has no more separate views. He has seen everything, and all that he has seen and understood is now seared, ingrained into his lens. His lens is at one with the Dhamma. All of us lens are not like that. Our lens, if you take it out and take a look at it, let's assume that there is a way of measuring Saddha, right? You take out your lens and you look at it, the odds are your Saddha may not be even 50%. About 50% you enter stream. Can you imagine? Our Saddha maybe 10%. 90% is you, your view, sitting on ignorance and wrong view and assumptions that you have accumulated in a lifetime. Correction, salah, that you've accumulated in lifetimes. Centuries, millennium of views buried in that lens. And now you're trying to clean it. So bowing before the Buddha, saying again to yourself, reminding yourself, the teacher knows best. He knows everything. He knows what to do. And I believe that the Dhamma will work. It will change that lens. And if I try my best in the footstep following after the Sangha from the past and the ones to come, the ones today, I too will succeed in changing my lens. That's what it means. So that's why Saddha is the most critical tool that you can have in your fight against ignorance. Our lens, unfortunately, is cloaked with ignorance. It's chalked with stains from lifetimes. This life, because you have wisdom, you are here. Because you have wisdom, you can understand. You need to do something. You don't do it in this lifetime, you wait for which lifetime to start. Which lifetime are you able to do it? Never mind, I leave it to the future, but I'm not so good. Die. Glass ceiling number 5. Glass ceiling, the assumption that you cannot do. So you imagine there is a ceiling there, but it's made of glass. It's for you to shatter it. Okay? I said stop interjecting with views because you look at your lens. People say something, you say something in there. Those are views. I don't like the teacher. The teacher, this kind of pattern I don't like. Someone use this kind of language I don't like. So your lens is talking now. But are you aware? You're not aware. You are not aware. There might be a teacher who does not speak Queen's English. Not that this is Queen's English. But there might be a teacher who cannot quite speak English the way you appreciate it. But the guy is an arahant, you know. He has got the most wonderful ideas and knowledge. But you look at your own lens. He opens his mouth and says something a bit odd, and straight away your lens go, 不对的, 不对的, the one, this one no good. We judge. That's that lens doing the job. But when you have saddha, you see the rope and you say, I give him benefit of the doubt. I will listen first. But if it doesn't sync with the Dhamma, then a bit hard. Then I will just keep quiet and move on. You can say that. But you must listen. The lens must open your ears, open your mind, that you hear, and then you think this is a little bit off. Why? Because it didn't talk anything about sila. Okay? If it doesn't talk anything about sila, this is when you must be careful. The one thing I can teach you, I can share with you, and it's very important, is your protection. 你的护身符. Okay, your amulet. Actually, because this is enlightenment one, but it's actually sila. The sila is the one that I didn't put it here because this is the enlightenment. Sila is your start point. It's the foundation, the cornerstone of the practice. In any Dhamma talk, if that Dhamma talk does not have a key component on sila, this is when you must be careful. Because sila is the cornerstone of the practice. No two ways about it. It's not a good to have, it is a must have in the practice. So why virya, right? Because virya, it's a constant reminder. You have to keep the mind pure and clean. It's a constant reminder. You put in the effort, you put in the energy to put a dam, D-A-M, a dam on akusala, on unwholesomeness, on unskillfulness. You need your mind to have that resilience and strength for kusala. So you put these two together, saddha, the conviction, the confidence, the readiness to change the mind and make it a Dhamma mind, and virya, to take the measures necessary to change that lens. You put the two together and you are in business. In Chinese, we say 你有本钱. 本钱 means capital, right? You have capital necessary for this Dhamma journey. You don't have saddha, or your saddha is shaky, and your virya, effort, energy, if your saddha is shaky, you only have 50% capital, which will deplete very fast. You have no virya, you will have, if you have saddha, faith, conviction, but no virya, your capital is 50% and it will deplete fast because you're not rebuilding your funds. But if you have virya, but no saddha, jialat, your this 50% 本钱 can go all over the place. It may not necessarily be put on the Dhamma floor or Dhamma door. You see what I'm saying? These two must go together. You have these two, you can get started, you can go far. Okay? I am going to treat sati, samadhi separately. Okay? Sati, mindfulness, you see the word I put there, presence of attention. People will also tell you that sati is about memory, remembering things. Actually, you ask yourself, if you put your attention on an action or on an event and you're very aware, you're very attentive to the event, can you remember? Of course you can remember. You know where you put your car keys. For sure. So that's the strength of sati. But it's not only about car keys. Sati is clarity, mental clarity, and retentive memory. Because you need to constantly look at your mind, know the choices that you are making, choose wisely. Sati helps you with that. Okay? Know what's happening. So let's say you witness an event and there is the arising of akusala, unwholesomeness. Sati must know. Because you are attentive, you are present, you will know akusala has a reason. Sati will remind you, Dhamma, you practitioner, right? Dhamma. So the word that comes out, nothing. Don't say. Because you are aware of arising of akusala, you are aware of your choices, you are aware of the Dhamma practice, you are aware. Don't choose negative. Stay calm. Wait it out. Pleasant, unpleasant will fade away, whatever it is. Wait it out. Okay, we're good to go again. Reset button, we are good to go. See what I'm saying? So sati is very important. For the ones who are saying, oh, daily life no need to practice meditation, you are in trouble. You do realize that your car, COE, will run out this life. Meaning whatever that you have learned, may run out. Or, minimally, you don't remember a lot. You start the next life with very low COE on Dhamma. Then you got to start all over again. Sadha, viriya, start all over again. And then, you don't have sadha or viriya, or you have partial only, die. COE run out very fast. Third life, no more already. I don't know where you are, but not Dhamma. So to come back to the Dhamma, again and again, you want to do something about sati. I introduce you, samadhi. Sati samadhi actually comes together. Okay? Sati samadhi actually must come together. Not can, must come together. When your samadhi has sati, it's power. When your samadhi has no sati, for whatever reason, which means you're doing it wrong already, you will drift. I don't know what samadhi you are, you're basically digging a hole only. It's not very useful. You put the two together, it's very powerful, and it's the Buddha's Dhamma. You separate the two, whatever assumptions you hold, whatever practice that you have, for whatever reason you separated the two, then it's like a person with only one hand, no? You don't have two to help you clap and help you climb. You try and do mountain climbing with one hand. You can get to step one, that's it. It's very hard, right? Okay? Finally, and the one that we all agree. In fact, many of us will say, hey, my sadha very good. My viriya, okay lah, sometime lah. When anger is very strong, then viriya not very good. They're all salah already. Sati samadhi, never mind, next life. But Panya, I understand why it's so important. So I come for class. You come and bring one intellect, sitting on none of the above mental states. Now can you understand why it's not getting very far? Why your car, after run 5 kilometers, run out of petrol already? Why I can't get going? Why is it my Dhamma keep stop? Your car has only $5 worth of petrol, it will go where? Your Dhamma journey, next rest stop. You see what I'm saying? Panya is very important, but it cannot sit alone. It cannot. Then some people are very clever. Sis Sylvia, why is it Buddha's time? All those people listen to one talk, understood. That, I tell you, is to tell you that it's not about volume of knowledge. It's not about volume. And all those chaps sat before him and entered the stream, I can tell you, have all of the above. They have faith. That's why they will go deep into this dark forest. Are you familiar with the story of Anatta Pindika? Millionaire. All you know is he's a millionaire. Anatta Pindika woke up in the middle of early morning. The kokoke hasn't even made noise, he couldn't sleep. So he decided, you know what, I'm just going to look for Buddha. Hop out of his bed, the nice, cozy, warm bed with radiator. Pop into the dark road. Now, India. Actually, not just India. Anywhere before the invention of electricity is pitch black dark. He stood at the door and he went, Jin Amma. Stood at the door and he went, this is really dark. But never mind, I will do it. How much faith, the strength of his faith to keep walking. And as he walked into the forest, he felt that it got darker and darker. And you know, Indian forest is not Bukit Timah Hill, okay? They got tiger and snake galore. Snake galore. The cobra makes it his home, right? It's got all kinds of creatures that can just leave his half-eaten body behind. So he's scared. He stood at there and he's scared. And as he get deeper and deeper, he got more and more frightened. So it took tremendous courage. And the one thing that can give you courage, right? That one thing that can neutralize your fear is faith. And they both starts with the alphabet F. The one thing that can neutralize your fear is faith. Every time you're scared, you went, Buddha protect me. Oh, feel good already. It's like that. It's just mental state. So he had faith galore. Is it virya? You 4 a.m. wake up, go into the forest on your own. Is it virya? He was in search of this man that they said understands Dhamma. He wants to go there. There's a lot of effort. And you know, every time you are frightened, right? Actually, mindfulness is there. Your mind is not drifting. Your mind is present. Correct? So, sati is there. And you don't want to follow, you don't want to drop into the longkang, your samadhi is there too. Because he's walking into the forest. He's very mindful where he steps. I'm telling you, all of the above are there. The mental states, papa. When the Buddha called him, Anatta Pindika. Oh no, he called him by his real name. I forgot his name. Sudatta, is it? Or something like that. I can't remember. I think it's Sudatta. Or so one of those things. Henry, come. Henry. Wow, he understands. He knows my name. That's it. So already. His mind is completely open, completely receptive. Never interrupt Buddha. No halfway, sorry sir, I don't understand that word. Don't have. Completely engrossed in his words. Of course he enters stream. Mental states are all there. You see what I'm saying? So remember this. Don't blame your brain not good enough. It's all about the mental states present. And right seeing, right focus, right takeaway, right application. The words are very important. I am not doing a thesaurus here. You know the words are not the same. It is a sequence. This is a flow of learning. First, it starts with you seeing it correctly, understanding it correctly, so that you know what you should be focused on. What are you tackling in your mind? As the Buddha explains, or as you read the sutta, or as you listen to a talk, you must take the correct notes, not verbatim. Everything he said, I write. My joke also there. Cannot. You must only take away the relevant points. Okay? And application. Now that you understand, you can apply in your daily life. Okay? This is advertisement. So right application. Know what to do. Do it right. Know what to do means the choices that you make, the choices there, pick the right choice. Something like that, okay? Come for my class, I'll teach you. Taking guidance from Buddha. Okay, so now what I'm going to introduce is how the Buddha tackled teaching of Dhamma. You see, Buddha, when he was teaching Dhamma, had a lot of disadvantages that we don't face today. You don't realize it. When Buddha was teaching, now he had his strengths. He has his gifts. But at the same time, he was also dealing with an environment and the conditions, external conditions are really not conducive. Imagine if the Buddha is alive today, with the kind of gadgets, devices that he has. What can he not teach? Who can he not reach? You know what I'm saying? But he was doing it 2,500 years ago. And the environment was really very difficult. Number one, his audience were all not educated. All of them. But very few, very, very, very few. 0.01% of the population had some kind of structured learning. Everyone else had none. So they will come to him with all kinds of background. The guy who plowed the field, the guy who brought fruits, the guy who sells things. You know what I'm saying? He deals with an audience that is not as equipped as you all are to understand the Dhamma. You don't come tell me, we don't have Buddha today, we have no Buddha already, so very hard. No, you have Dhamma. You have education. You have a mental capacity to understand self-study. You have that. They didn't. They needed him. Okay? Yet, he was history, in my view, in the view of all his disciples, the greatest of all teachers in history. Because he can guide you, he can guide his audience by the scores. Scores means 20. By the scores, or by the hundreds if you want, just so that we make the impact. By the hundreds, he can guide them into the stream and on. Because he has that ability to help them prepare their mind. When they settle to listen, all the mental states are present, all ready for him, okay? Okay, a couple of things here. Buddha, we all know, okay? This part I can just show you. We all know Buddha has absolute clarity about Dhamma. What is Dhamma's objective? What is the end goal of the practice? And he never deviated from that. Why did I flash this out as the first line here for you? You must always remember, Buddhists, disciples of Buddha, clarity, we are dealing with dukkha, the path, cessation. That's the end, that's the objective. Don't get caught up by all the trees and the twigs and the branches and all. Focus your mind on the objective. Dukkha, cessation, nibbana. Then you say, I know that. No, you don't. You know it conceptually. You don't know it here. It must sink into your system. So on a daily basis, every time your mind feels uncomfortable, you have to remember the noble truths. What did the noble truths teach you? Every time your mind goes, 我不喜欢, 我很生气, I'm angry, I don't like this, why is it like that? Why the world is so against me? Why? Every time your mind talks like that, Dhamma comes up, Four Noble Truth, you must immediately, the mind must flow there. Okay? Buddha taught only essentials, And there are three parts to this. So when you read a sutta, when you read suttas, when you read Dhammapada verses, when you listen to talks, you hear people talk about what and how. Not enough. Why? Why like this? Why saddha? You heard me explain to you the importance of saddha. Typically, when you listen to a talk, you're likely to hear what is said about saddha. Saddha means saddha, faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Then this is how you understand the Buddha. This is how you see the Dhamma. And this is how you understand the Sangha, right? Typically, it's what? And this is how. Full stop. But what we went through was why. Why saddha? Why was saddha so powerful? Now, I said this came from Buddha. You remember this very interesting exchange conversation between Ananda and the Buddha, where the Ananda was asking him, why? Why sila? The Buddha said, so that there is no remorse. Why no remorse? So that there is joy and happiness and tranquility. And why we need that? And from that why, it went all the way to Nibbana. Sila is a start point that will help you finally arrive at Nibbana. So the why, if ancient audience can ask why modern audience cannot ask why? Do you understand? So the Buddha was really great teacher. He never teach them in the manner that he said, I say, I Buddha, I say, you follow. What's your problem? He never did it like that. He accommodated all simple questions. Why? And he will answer you why until the end. Then Ananda said why? Then he said there's no more why. It's the end. Essentials from non-essentials. The end. We are done. Oh, okay. What's a useful takeaway? All that I've said. Okay? The useful takeaway for us is we must have clarity about the Dhamma. Be clear in our mind what are essentials. What's essential for the Dhamma? Eightfold path. What does that mean? It means creating the correct, wholesome, skillful, kusala mental states and neutralize, eradicate the unwholesome, unskillful ones. All expressed through thought, speech, and action. That's essential. What is non-essential? Whining about learning Pali is non-essential. Buddha didn't ask you to learn Pali. Buddha insisted that you must know Dhamma properly. He insisted there is no need to learn it in his language, in sacred text way. For those of us who love the teaching and who wants to feel the word, you go in, deep into the words, and then you appreciate it as is for yourself. But you don't go and take it as a club and club everyone else. You never learn Pali. Why your alphabet so bad? You don't know. Don't do that. You don't have to, okay? For those of you who say, I don't know Pali, I cannot learn Pali, this life should die without Pali, don't worry about that. That is not essential. Essential, Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path. Essential, kusala versus akusala. Know the kusala, wholesome. Know the akusala, unwholesome. Make sure your mind is always with the wholesome so that you can kick out the squatters, the unwholesome. You must kick them out. Essential from non-essential. What else is essential? Contentment, humility. These are all essential mental states. All these are wholesome mental states. They are all essential. Humility, contentment, affinity, empathy with the world. All these are essential. Okay? Non-essential is scoring first class in some Pali exam. This one, it's really, really, you know who gave me this idea? I'm not so brilliant one. It actually originated from Ajahn Jayasaro. I was listening to one of his YouTube talk, and he was talking about the difference between the Buddha's teaching and all the other teachings out there. You know how these days you got mindfulness classes and they have all kinds of funny things out there, right? All kinds of modern, interesting ideas. What he said was the Buddha's teaching. Everybody talks about doing good, but the Buddha's teaching has a framework, a methodology for training the mind. And that really hit me. He was absolutely right. Buddha has a framework for all his teaching. You must understand the Dhamma in the context of a framework. There is a framework. He has a methodology. If you happily pick out little parts of his teaching, and then you just kind of drill deep and do a PhD on that little part, it will not make you a Dhamma practitioner. It merely make you a doctor, Patija Samuppada. Doctor of something lah. You know what I'm saying? You drill deep on one, not enough. You need to see that span, that framework, the context. You need to understand that, okay? So Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path, mental cultivation, this is his framework, okay? All the concepts, all the Dhamma dots, they are all connected. So therefore, any teaching which, if taught in parts, must be brought back together as the whole. Do you understand? I repeat, any teaching, any concepts, you talk about aggregates, you talk about noble truths, talk about karma, rebirth, they are all his teachings. They are all not separate parts. They are a body, human body. You don't put the two hands side by side. Voila, hands. How do they work? You go and put two hands, two legs, put there. Voila, limbs. How do they work? If they're not connected to a body, it doesn't work. Okay? So the dots are all connected. Aye. Therefore, for all of us, when we are learning the Dhamma, whatever talk that you listen to, whatever suttas that you are reading, whatever sutta, many people talk about, I can't quite understand sutta. You are seeing it in parts. You must see it as part of the galaxy. Then the universe opens up to you. It's so like dawning, you know. Once you see them as a bigger whole, they fit. So whatever sutta that you read, whatever Dhammapada verse that you are going through, whatever YouTube program you're looking at, whatever, always fit it to that framework. So the first thing you must have is a framework. Okay? Be clear about the big picture, also not just the... Wait. Okay. This framework will make the difference for you in your understanding. Okay? That Dhamma tree, the Dhamma framework, the Dhamma roadmap, whatever you call it, the Dhamma GPS, whatever that you call it, whatever noun that you want to use, just remember, it is only a picture. All the parts must fit into a picture. So you must know how those parts fit. If you say, I am a master of Paticca Samuppada, congratulations, how do they fit? You must be able to stand up here and explain. And you can explain, tio liao, you are in. Welcome, Dhamma Club. Okay? It's a Dhamma Club, huh? Not money. Money doesn't get you into the club. Effort does. Effort and faith. To get into the Dhamma Club, you need Saddha Virya, okay? Effort and faith. Okay, Buddha in his lifetime, when he was teaching people, he had this 6-step gradual learning. Are you familiar with it? Have you heard of it? Are you all awake? Gradual learning. Yes, of course. Ling, I know you know. Of course you know. Master of it. The rest of you, are you all familiar with this? Have you all seen it before? Okay, hands up for those who have never seen it before. Okay, great. This is very important. Okay, let me tell you the backdrop. In the early days, when the Buddha was teaching lay people, not just lay. Okay, before they became monks, they started off as lay, right? So someone like Yasa. Yasa was the first person. Yasa, man with the 55 friends, right? Man with the 55 friends. Or for this 55 or 54. No, plus Yasa is 55. Buddha, yes, man with the 54 friends. Yasa was the Buddha's second conversion effort. The first was the 5 ascetics. The second one was Yasa. Okay? The very first time Buddha introduced this 6-step gradual learning was to Yasa. As I said, man with the 54 friend. He's famous for that. The first lay person. What's the difference between Yasa and the other 5 ascetic? Is this. The other 5 have spent years practicing with him. Wrong thing, right thing, they're all yoga master. Yasa was a lay person, which means he has 0 meditation background. Okay? And Yasa was also distressed. He was, in our modern day language, you would say Yasa got mental balance issue. He's got mental distress. He got PTSD. So, how to help? All of us will go, oh, he doesn't have the 5 mental state. Like that, how to do? You wait. So the 6th step is where it comes in. It starts off with dana, sila, sagga. Okay. What's the significance of this? The first 2 is to cleanse his mental states. Yasa would have been one fellow who is compassionate and giving. And to anyone, if you talk about dana, when you are giving correctly and purely, when you're doing that, would you not feel joy? Yes or no? Would you not feel joy for you, yourself, when you were giving? Did you feel joy? How much joy did you feel? A scale of 1 to 5, depends. On a really good day, when you are really serving and you're very happy, 5. On a bad day, really bad day, also got 1. A 3, you win already. Very good. On a bad day, she got 3, okay? You must aspire. Okay. So, a reminder of that giving and that joy was the Buddha's way of triggering the joy. Okay? Sila, morality. Now, you can have an entire class on sila. It's an entire class on dana. Okay? And these mental states for a lay person. Now, you want to ask me, how can you help your family? How can I teach them Dhamma? This is Dhamma. Help them to understand the importance of giving. But it's not just giving money, not just giving tangible food, robes, not just that, but giving soft, what do you call it? Hard gifts, soft gifts. Time, effort, attention, affection, good words, encouragement. You are also giving these things. Encouragement very cheap only, free one. Good word, kindness, hugs, all free, all free. COVID time don't hug, but with a mask on, you can still give encouraging words. Someone you know is having trouble coping with COVID. What did you do? You text the person, you Zoom the person. Oh, these are all modern words now. You text the person, you Zoom the person, you ask the person, are you okay? You want to talk about something? That's your dana. Time, effort, encouragement, kindness. So dana is not just dollar and cents or Bitcoin, not just those things. Dana is really the softer part, the kindness. Okay? Sila is you acting to restrain your unwholesome mental states. Satga is important. In ancient time, they all want to know what happened after this. When I die already, then how? Okay, not just ancient time, but today we're still having that question. But in ancient time, this Satga is to address the issue of this life and the next. And so the Buddha, in Dana Sila Satga, was able to calm this mind down. Because remember, he was going, I'm feeling a lot of stress. I'm feeling a lot of pain. I must get out of this life. That was yasa. So the Buddha, by explaining these to him, softened his mind, calm it down. And it always follows, after he talks about Dana Sila Satga, there's this little stanzas that said, now the Buddha feel that his mind is soft, pliant, light, happy, and so on and so forth. So this person, these three is to prepare for the mind to soften and delight and be gentle and be happy, something like that. Okay? When that set the stage, because at that point when the mind is like this, the mind now have saddha, virya, sati, samadhi, all the things that I said earlier, the mental states. He was preparing this individual's mind by bringing up for him these mental states. Saddha, faith, virya, energy, effort. So this guy is feeling very inspired. You were like inspired. The mind is calming down. He's quite happy already. Okay? So this individual is ready for the heavy lifting. Okay? Adinava. Limitations of the pleasure of life. This is where the Dhamma starts. It's a reminder to all of us. A reminder to all of us that life is not one big party. That we will have issues and pain in life. Adinava is writing the balance. Remember, he was trying to soften the mind, making it light and happy. So now he's writing it. He's balancing it. He's balancing it with the reality talk. Not reality TV, with the reality talk. Unfortunately, in life, it is not one just big party. We all have our difficulties and problems. The dukkha talk starts. It's preparing his mind. And we learn to let be. We learn to make do. He's preparing the mind for contentment, for letting go. Then he whack it with the Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths. Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta was all about the Four Noble Truths. Remember? The first sutta, turning of the wheel of the Dhamma, was all about the Four Noble Truths. But this time round, look at what the Buddha did. He sat this guy down, he explained this guy, kusala, wholesomeness. 3 sessions on that. Dana, Sila, Satga, they are all kusala. Followed by reality talk. So only number 6, at the end of this reality conversation, did he introduce 4 Noble Truths. Now do you understand why in our modern world we feel a bit shortchanged, right? Because when we attend a class, any sutta class, any Dhamma class, you are not likely to find Dana Sila Satga like that. You are likely to jump into 4 Noble Truths and Eightfold Path and the aggregates and Paticca Samuppada. And then everybody come out of class. We all went through a class, but we don't quite understand. Because your mind is not ready. You didn't set the condition. You didn't prepare the ground. You didn't pay attention to the essentials. Essentials means soften the mind, make it wholesome, then we start. We didn't do any of those things. We plunge into the Dhamma, then we drown in the Dhamma. You must tread water first. You must know how to tread water, okay? So the Dhamma journey is a gradual transformation of mind and life. It's gradual. If in your life, I'm telling you this, if in your life, up to this point, you think dana is about giving money to BF or wherever, this is all you have done for dana and nothing else, right? You have a trouble, you have problem. You must come serve also. Or serve the people you love. Look after your parents. Look after your neighbors, your siblings, something like that. That dana must become more spontaneous. Giving in all ways to the world closest to you. Then, if someone is hurting, you must dana. Don't give money only. Time and effort. You have to do these things to soften the mind so that you are at one with the world. Okay? And it's gradual. It doesn't matter if right now ask you to dana, your pocket very painful, your heart also very painful. It doesn't matter. Do a bit. Start small. Start small, but start somewhere. Okay? Oh, sorry. I thought I should just highlight to you how we are doing this. You know that we're starting this course, right? We're designing it with 3 steps, and they are all designed with the gradual steps in mind. So the 16-week start point, Dhamma for the fulfilling lay life, I name it like this. The intent here really is to help the lay person connect with the Dhamma and feel the joy in living your lay life. The joy of living, okay? Then comes, when you're serious enough, you don't have to do all 3. But if you're new to the Dhamma, I urge you to do 1. Even if you have gone for classes elsewhere, you think that you want to understand the Buddha's teaching in context, as a framework, then come for 1. 3 is really the practice. Drum into you in day life. 3, Dhamma 3. But you don't do 2, you cannot do 3. I'm saying it to everyone. You must do 2 DFC 2, then you can come and join DFC 3. The reason is because 2 is where I share with you all the Dhamma tools and concepts, again with a framework. Then 3, we apply. You cannot do 3. You want to apply, I ask you where your tools, I don't have. I thought you would teach me here. No, sorry. The tool you must buy from Sing Song first. Okay? You must go buy your tools from Sing Song, which is DFC 2. Then you come to the camp for 3. And that's 3 liao. We will teach you how to construct. Okay? I mentioned earlier that we need to guard ourselves against some pitfalls. The first pitfall, these are all the habits in our mind. The pitfalls is not like I have 1, then I don't have the rest. No, we can have all of them. And we can have different ones at different times. Okay, depending on where you are, they all pops out. They are conditional arising. So one conditionally arisen habit is nitpicking. Fixated on small. Microscopic definition of the small thing. You're like looking at the end world, end world to Dhamma. Small one. Narrowly focused, cannot see big picture. We are guilty of it at some point. We're guilty of it. But as you grow up, then you're not guilty of it anymore, okay? The second one, okay, overview, that's not important. The second one is chauvinism. how we all identify with one tradition, and then only that tradition is right, everybody else is wrong. Cannot. I am teaching, you'll be very tickled pink. I have 3 classes, starting with these 3 classes. And I will, unfortunately, this one is only open to DFC 1. Okay? Unfortunately, which means that you cannot attend this class unless you sign up for the course. But I'm telling you, these 3 classes on history is really quite cute. It's taking you from the early days of the Buddha's time, the evolutionary milestones along the way, to where we are today and why we are 3. And why it is wrong to say only I am right and the others are wrong. It is incorrect. And I credit some of my teachers from in the course of this life. There are different monks who came along and explained different things. And I start to realize they are so right. We are all growing away from you think of it this way. The Buddha's Dhamma is the central tree, the central trunk. But then you start to grow branches and trunks and the branches and stems and twigs off, right? But the further you are from the center trunk, the more you don't look like the center trunk, right? So you got the little twig at the end, you're nothing like the big, strong central trunk. But you came from there. You did come from here, this trunk. That you're growing off a mango tree doesn't mean you papaya. 对不对? If you are growing from a mango tree, you cannot become papaya at the end. So even though you are a miniscopic mango, but you're still mango. So we're all Buddhists. But we are actually, all of us have grown away from that central trunk. I tell you something, you will laugh. You may not laugh, sorry. You may not laugh. You may be like that. I tell you something, okay? We all like to say, and I'm pretty sure some of you are guilty of saying, because I was guilty of saying this. We all like to say, Theravada came from the oldest school. Theravada, we're the oldest school, right? We are the pure. We are the original. We're very chun one because we're original. Okay? We're original, huh? Yes, you are from the earliest school, that's true. Theravada is. But your name was decided in South India. Theravada was not original. You started off, not you lah, the Ma started from the time of the Buddha. I'll give you just a sneak preview. The time of the Buddha, right? So from the time of the Buddha to when the Stavira school ended up in Sri Lanka, at that point, change already started happening. And at that point, I think you're called, I forgot, Tambabani. You had a different name. Tambabani or something like that. When you attend a class, you see the word. Originally, you were called Tambabani. Then it put into the southern India, and then you became Theravada. The school name changed. So you were Raffles, then you became ACS. The school changed. The name changed. And there are all these morphing going on. Okay, I'll give you another one. Just another idea. No, I think I won't. I won't. I shouldn't. I should go on. So understanding evolution helps you become more open-minded. Helps you have clarity why we are doing some things, why those things are essential, and those you must never compromise. Because when you compromise on the essentials, you will lose the substance of the teaching. But the peripheries, the non-essentials, it's okay. Buddha himself said it's okay. You can morph. But the essentials, you must never morph. And I repeat, essentials. Four Noble Truth, Eightfold Path, wholesome, unwholesome, wholesome, take, unwholesome, let go. This part you must never compromise. that the teaching came from the Buddha. His teaching explains nature of reality, and the Sangha, the practice, is all about helping us change the lens so that we can see reality properly. That cannot change. This is your essential. That we are disciplined and we hold ourselves to the Dhamma, to the practice, and must always stay wholesome, cannot change. This is essential. You change any of these things, you are as good as messing up Dhamma. So in your emphasis to anyone, this cannot change. Everything else, you want to change your robes, you want to change your clothes, go ahead. It's okay. Okay? By now you know, I kept emphasizing. Dhamma is three parts. Three parts. Dhamma is three parts, which we typically will say Panya, Sila, Samadhi, right? Panya, wisdom. Sila, wholesomeness. Samadhi is the mental clarity and balance, okay? I ask you this. Have you all heard about, you all know about meditation center, yeah? Yeah? And of course, you all know about Dhamma school. Yeah? So, Panya Sila, Panya Samadhi, all got business. Sila leh? Got Sila school not? No Sila school. Why? So, the practice kena lopsided. Then I say, service and Sila, right? So what they have, it's not Sila school. You have service center. Right? You have all this 仁慈 and what else? Metta and all. You have places that you serve. They're very important. What you need is to combine them. Service with understanding. Samadhi must come with Sila. And with Panya, so you know where you're going. So you don't go Samadhi school without a map. Would you go to Malaysia without a map? Say you have a destination in mind, but never mind, I put 3 joystick, I go. What you think the 3 joystick is GPS? Cannot like that, right? You will have the map, so you know where you are driving towards. And along the way, you must feed your car, right? Sila. Feed your car, no petrol, halfway through, how? So you actually have a package deal. And the final one is this one. Final one is the glass ceiling attitude. I am not smart enough. You can't be worse than one individual who became Arahant in the time of the Buddha. And he could only learn one stanza. I think it's a month, depending on which text you read, a month, half a month, that's still 2 weeks. You want a full new moon, full moon, then he understood one stanza. You cannot be worse than that. He's like, whoom, express train to Arahant. My point is that it is not about intelligence. Really, really, really not about intelligence. Because I'm teaching in English, at most with a bit of Mandarin, thrown in for good measure and good laugh, at most that, then minimally you must understand English. You want to attend the class that I conduct, you have to understand English. If you speak Hokkien only, I got problem. You see what I'm saying? But so that's language. It has nothing to do with intelligence. I'm telling you, I guarantee you, you invest the time, you open your mind to listening carefully, there is no reason why you cannot understand the Dhamma. No reason. Then whether or not you apply, and apply wisely, that's practice. That has nothing to do with understanding. Okay? Okay, question and answers. Don't have today? You all start first.
Any questions for Sister Sylvia Bay? All enlightened already, sister.
No question online as well?
None. Somebody did ask about DFC. One, Whether it's conducted online or on-site, it's both. You can come to BF on-site, limited to 50 persons, and online Zoom. We will expand it if we overshoot 100 people, but at the moment it's 100. So you can log into the Eventbrite and sign up. Thank you.
The advantage of attending on site is that we have tutorials. And I conduct all the tutorial classes myself. So we'll have fun every other Saturday afternoon, because tutorial is every other week. We'll have fun doing this together. Online, they have to figure out how to send you into your own online cyber tutorial classes. Okay. No more?
Okay, one question. How does one with listening deficiency understand Dhamma?
Do you have visual impairment? Do you have visual? If you have listening deficiency, means learning via sound is challenging. It's hard. But if you have no visual impairment, and you can easily read, you understand you can read, or you can no, it's only visual, right? It's meaning reading. Or if you listen to a talk, the talk has to have subtitles. So it still depends on the eyes for you to register info. Then it helps. Okay? It helps.
I guess I have a question here, sister.
Sure.
I might have missed it somehow. In the 6-step gradual learning that you spoke about, I didn't quite catch the part about the saga section. How does that help?
I didn't go into a lot of detail there, because keeping the best part for the class. But seriously, you see, Satguru is heaven. So when the Buddha was teaching Yasa, Buddha was explaining rebirth and the heavenly states, the different levels of existence. We think it's most likely like that. Because there wasn't exactly a teaching where the Buddha said, when I talk about Saga, I mean this. He never said that. But we think that the most straightforward answer, Buddha is not very complex. Not very convoluted. He's not convoluted. He's very to the point. So when he used the word Saga, which means heaven, it's likely that he literally talked about heaven. Which means to say, in our part of the teachings, we have to explain the lives that come after. We have to. We cannot construct a class. We should not. I shouldn't say we cannot. We should avoid structuring a class that does not comment on karma and rebirth. Reason is because this knowledge of this, karma and rebirth, the knowledge of this is a critical part, a critical motivation for practice. It's a critical motive. Look, if you perceive that the actions that you undertake has no consequences, 1, and 2, there's no such thing as next life. If you hold on to these two beliefs, then there are no two restraints on you. Restraints. You know Hiri Otapa, right? Hiri is conscience, your inner conscience. Otapa is the sense of shame. Okay? The two guardians to your kusala, your wholesome states, are these two. The sense that you have a conscience, that means you have to answer to yourself. There is a built-in instinct in you that tells you you shouldn't be doing this because you're going to cause problems for others. So this guilty conscience thing, it's guilt conscience. It's conscience that is hiri. Otapa is the external restraints, or the restraints that don't come from within, but it comes from learning and growing and understanding. So these external restraints will be things like the law, your family attitude towards you, you're wanting your parents' approval. For the child, it's a powerful restraint, okay? Or the censure of Facebook. So these days, social media is another restraint. So you feel that you're being judged harshly because you undertake an action. That perception of being judged and the wanting to avoid holds you back. Hiri otapa. Okay? So when it comes to karma, rebirth, those two, don't you think they are powerful otapa factors, restraining factors? That's why the Buddha says there are three wrong actions via the mind. One of them is wrong view. And in wrong view is don't believe in karma and don't believe in heavens, rebirths. If you don't believe in these things, it is a wrong view, meaning it can lead you onto the wrong path and you go offline. Then some people, because I've conducted a class on this, there are some people who kept asking, what's the proof, what's the proof, what's the proof? And my reply is, there are proofs. There are, by the way. I used to wonder myself, although I didn't say it in class, I used to wonder. But today, I'm telling you, there are very powerful proofs. I would strongly advise you to go and check out these books. Go online, go buy them, borrow them from library, go get them wherever. These are books written by two scientists. Both of them are doctors. Doctors, okay? Meaning Western-trained medical doctors who go for proof and evidence. And there are these two. One is called Ian Stevenson, which I think Kim knows very well. He's always talking about Ian Stevenson. I-A-N, Steven, son. So maybe ancestor Norwegian. Stevenson. And the other one is Jim Tucker. J-I-M-T-U-C-K-E-R. Jim Tucker. I'm not sure. Americans, I think. I'm not sure. They wrote books that categorize, that list all those little ones, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, all talking about past lives. All of them, all these little ones. And they're from all over the world, by the way. If you think that, only Buddhist one, well, yes, there are a lot of Buddhist ones. So Myanmar, the Thais, the Sri Lankans, but Turkish, Lebanese. This Ian Stevenson has this book on rebirth and biology. It's called, I think it's reincarnation. He calls it reincarnation and biology. And he tabulated all the little stories from this chap, from Turkey. A few of the stories are from Turkey, Lebanon, Canadian Red Indians. Sweet. I love all these all over the place. You have all these guys telling you, the little ones. You cannot refute the arguments because they're little ones. 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, and the details that they provide. It's astounding. Then you stubbornly say, don't have such thing as rebirth. Okay, so be it. You go and argue against the little ones. The details that they provide. They have the little ones. It's very, very fascinating. There is this one, he was born with certain patches on his body, patches, many, many little patches, discoloring. And it appears to be that when you have discoloring on your body, you're likely to have passed on in a previous life, possibly in quite a violent way. So you have all these markings. So this little one started talking about being stabbed in a different time. Then I die. Then I, again here. It was very cute. Very matter-of-factly. He was stabbed to death, and then he came, and then in this life, and so they went to check. I was born this one, in a different life, was this name, and this guy, my wife, they have little ones who went back, got angry because the son won't call him daddy. So 17, 18-year-old man, right? And this little boy go, call me father, call me father. Little boy, the 7-year-old, his 3-year-old thing insisted, and he gave them the angry face. He ignored them because they won't call him father. It's very, very cute. There's fascinating little stories. You go read, and you go form your own conclusions, whether or not it's real. Yeah. Okay? Are we good? That's it, huh?
Okay, thank you for the talk, Sis Sylvia. Thank you for mentioning mental instability and learning the Dhamma. How about people like psychopaths and sociopaths, whom medical science defines as without conscience and incapable of knowing right from wrong?
They may not have the inner checks, but the external checks must be powerful enough. So in Singapore, you don't see many psychopaths and sociopaths running havoc because Singapore is perceived as a place where you will be held accountable, we will find you, that kind of perception. So otapa becomes an important check. That's one. Two, you may be a psychopath and you may be a sociopath, but your sense of happiness still sits on certain, this thing about wholesome, unwholesome, right? As a condition for pain or happiness, that doesn't change. You're still human. Which means that if you show kindness, in that one rare moment when you show kindness, you will still feel the lightness. You will still feel that joy. You will still have it. You may start off with certain disadvantages. It's very unfortunate, but you start off with certain disadvantages, meaning your chance of finding happiness actually diminishes. That you don't feel very deeply for the wholesomeness, it means your happiness is diminished. It's very unfortunate. So you have to train. You have to train, and you have to keep doing it until you feel it, because you will feel it. Okay? It could mean all these biological limitations may be the result of choices made in a different life, causing you to carry these disadvantages. I call them disadvantages. You may think that they are advantages, but they are very, very strong disadvantages. One disadvantage is you cannot appreciate the Dhamma as well as someone with strong empathy. Okay? I'm telling you, the people with very strong empathy and kindness comes spontaneously. These are the ones who really feel the power of the Dhamma. That's their gift, or your blessings. So if you are someone who people cry, you cry, people said, you said, that's your blessing, mind you. That means you can really feel the Dhamma, and you can flow with the Dhamma. But of course, it also means that you are highly emotional. So it is important for Dhamma to help you tame your emotion a bit. Teach you a little bit of upekkha. You need to raise your upekkha quotient. Right? If your upekkha quotient, think of the Brahma Vihara as 4 parts, right? Metta, karuna, metta, loving kindness, karuna, compassion, mudita, altruistic joy, and upekkha, equanimity, right? So you're very high on metta, you're very high on compassion, you're very high on mudita, but you're very low on upekkha. Then you may be a salt basket. You drop a coin, you salt. You're a salt basket. Okay? So Upeka must also raise the quotient a bit. Okay, what's next?
Why is Sila not in one of the 5 faculties when without Sila one can't have Samadhi?
Viriya is the upgraded version of Sila. Okay? I see you very up. So that's why I put Viriya, but I will remember to put Sila, because Sila, as I said, Viriya is the upgraded version of Sila. Okay? Energy, Viriya, energy, energetic effort put in for wholesomeness. That's very powerful. Wholesomeness. Okay?
Thank you, Sis Sylvia. Another question, how can we apply Dhamma to handle difficult bosses?
Visible reaction. I will give you a couple of things only, because time is running out, and I know many of you have got all kinds of appointments. I will just give you a couple of things. Coming from the Buddha, we just go with right speech, okay? And when it comes to speech, you know there are 5 parts to good speech, right? Right speech, the 5 parts. 1, must be truth. 2, timely. 3, beneficial. 4, said with
Gentleness, kindness.
Said with metta. Said softly, gently, and the 5th one is you have kindness in your heart, right? You have difficult boss, but he's still human. So your speech that you say to him, the things that you say to him, you just bear in mind these 5 things. Don't overload him with details. Timely, only necessary, tell him. Number 2, make sure whatever is said is truth. Truth. Because if he is difficult, you come in with something not truth, he finds out, he's going to kill you. 3, he's going to pata you. 3, when you're dealing with difficult people, it's very hard for your heart to be kind with metta. It's very hard. But I assure you, you stay the mind on metta, you soften the mind, then when you interact with him, it is also your mental energy that will soften his mind. He may be yelling at everyone, but with you, he yells softer. Okay? Then, if you do it with his welfare at heart, right? Always welfare at heart. Look, unless he's completely obnoxious and unreasonable, he cannot miss that you are trying to do the right thing and the good thing. You don't give in to your own negativity and react negatively. You just stay with wholesome and the right thing. It gives you a little bit of buffer, a little bit of leeway. So as I said, he beat others hard, but with you, it's a soft nudge, soft tap. Okay? And finally, nice speech, soft speech. Very often, when we are dealing with someone unpleasant, our mind turns negative, we feel the pain, what comes out also painful. So you hold on to your mind, you hold on to the wholesomeness, what comes out, soften your pitch, lower your voice. Don't have it high, low voice, lower. Why low? You hear child got low voice or not? Little ones. The little one's pitch is high. So psychologically, it's proven. You hear someone with a higher pitch, you assume the fellow is young. Young can bully lah. So you lower, you gentler, you speak softly, you are in control. Okay? So that's one part, that's managing him. Now you manage yourself. In your mind, you must keep telling yourself, do you want your life to be judged by this person? To be colored and affected by this person? If you say no, then when you walk out of the room, you must purge this person from your mind. He said, cannot be done. Can. Dhamma. Dhamma teach you how to do it. Dhamma will teach you how to do it. Of course it can be done. Did you know that one of the strengths of Sariputta, right, one of his strengths, he thinks what he wants to think. If he doesn't want to think, nothing affects him. That means the whatever that he wants to think about, his mind will go there. If he doesn't want to, the mind goes back here. Steady. Everything else, watch out. See what I'm saying? And I think all the arahants are that. And as you're progressing on the Dhamma, you also become like that, more and more like this. So you're not overwhelmed by the world out there. Okay? One more question and then we'll...
Last
Yes.
question was on the course, DFC. I signed up for the Zoom class. Does it mean that I can't do the tutorials online? I think we will try to break out the class when it's discussion time. And of course, we will Zoom Sis Sylvia when she's giving the instructions and at the end when she's summarizing. But in between, if she does add any instructions, I think we will type it into the Zoom breakout rooms so that you can continue your discussion.
Yes, so the tutorial, I haven't quite completely decided how we're going to run this, but you can assume that it will be 1 hour at least, because I love to talk. So we will have at least 1 hour of me barking, okay? 1 hour of substance, summary, explanation, contextualizing of a teaching, at least. And another hour or so where we will actually do some discussions and tutorials. 2-3 hours. If we have all the way to 3 hours, I will talk more. And you can talk more. Okay? Thereabout. As I said, I haven't quite thought through, but the tutorial is not free for all. You are given a question. And you are asked to discuss around that question. For example, the class on Saddha. Your question will be, are rite and rituals necessary for Saddha? Something like that. And then you will discuss and you will come back with your findings. Okay? Okay, we're done?
Unless you have time to answer one more question.
Okay, one more.
Um,
Don't write anymore. Don't write anymore.
Okay, no more questions, please. We will just take the last one. If the Buddha were alive in the technologically advanced world today, do you think addiction to social media, binge watching TV, and constant indulgence in music would have been discouraged as part of the 5th precept, since they dull the mind as well?
You want me to speak for Buddha? I can't. Don't. Like that cannot. I can only speak for myself. I believe that if your indulgence has become something that you cannot live without, then it is an addiction. Addiction means your mind is unable to break free from a control or from a compulsion, from a compulsion. Your mind can't break free from compulsion. And even if you want to, your mind can't break free. So that's part 1 of addiction. Part 2, specifically on the 5th precept, it really is because your mind is already drifting all over. The regular mind drifts and drifts all over. It cannot focus. Then now you go and feed it with liquor or drugs, supplements. Or you go and feed it. You feed into your system. Think of it like your system is chaotic. You go and add fire. Make it more chaotic. Make it more blur. Make it more drifting. Make it unable to focus. Weaken its ability to focus. Then that's not good. That you are basically taking away your own strengths. Mindfulness is a strength. It's a mental state. It's a powerful mental state that brings you to the present. Then you go and weaken that with drugs or intoxicants or whatever. You go weaken that. That's not so good, lah. The fifth precept is about your happiness. Actually, all the precepts are about your happiness. If you undertake any of them, you're not going to be happy. You're going to be even more stressed. You're going to be even more stressed. You're going to struggle with even more mental pressures. That's really what it is about. Okay? Okay, shall we? And as always, I will end with a reminder. And you can see it's now shortened. It's a result of careful reading and effort. Honoring our teacher by being wholesome and giving. And a reminder that we must all contribute to a charity or spiritual organization of your choice. A reminder that we must never take for granted the blessings that we are enjoying in this life, that our predecessors had done right by us. We must do right for the ones who come after. I ask for your hope and aspiration to wish for the Dhamma to last long, and that for ourselves, we will always enjoy supportive conditions for Dhamma practice. May we all never deviate from the Dhamma as long as life lasts. Today, I'm going to ask all of you, because you have sat through and you have accumulated a lot of merits. Your mind is filled with merits. So may we all share merits with Madam Quek Neo Moy, Indonesian, I think, right? She passed away in Indonesia. But her children, her child is here in Singapore, unable to go back. So we want to support our friends today. We support our friends by sharing merits with her mother. So her mother, right? We have another case coming up. Okay, this is Madam Quek Neo Moy, and another one is Mr. William Chandra, also Indonesian, also child, stuck here in Singapore, unable to go back. And I'm asking for all your sharing, and everyone online also, with the merits that you have accumulated. Please share with these two, uncle and auntie. May they all be well and happy wherever they have a reason. Feel the lightness and the joy in you arising for them. Okay. We good? Yeah.
Okay, we'll do dedication of merits now. In Anjali, let us invite all sentient beings to participate in our acquired merits. Ita vata cha amhehi samparam punya samparam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya. Ita vata cha amhehi samparam punya samparam sabbe bhutta anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya. Ita vata cha amhehi samparam punya samparam Sabbe Sata Anumodantu Sabba Sampati Siddhya. Let us now dedicate the merits of participating in a wholesome Dhamma activity to our departed relatives and friends. Idam me natinang hontu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idam me natinang hontu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idam me natinang hontu sukhita hontu nyatayo. End of service dedication. I dedicate the merits which I have accumulated to the cultivation of my mind in order to bring happiness and benefits to all sentient beings. I dedicate the merits to my parents, children, spouse, relatives, friends, colleagues, and my adversaries, wishing them long life, good health, happiness, and prosperity. May we never part from the Triple Gem, and may we always walk the path towards enlightenment. Let us pay respects to the Triple Gem. Araham Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Avivademi. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami. Supatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sangham Namami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for joining us today. Thank you, Sister Sylvia for the very good talk today. So